Okay, today is Trump's first 100 days. I'm excited. I feel like he got about a C minus so far, in my personal opinion. I mean, he's being met with a lot of resistance, like most presidents are. So you got to give him an opportunity to kind of unwind his plan, work through some of these lawsuits and being hauled into court. The thing that I'm paying attention to the most is how loud the Democratic roar is over there, anti-Trump cry, the anti-MAGA, and I'm a little surprised that it's been as effective as it has been, but I I must say I must qualify that by saying I haven't been in a bunch of Republican circles. So based on what the messaging going from the Democrats, the staunch Democrats, they ain't gone nowhere. They haven't lost them. But there are a significant and is a significant amount of Democrats that they have lost. And those are the ones that they should be trying to win back because they're not going to lose their base. But they need to get those people back who are leaving because they're anti-Trump, but they're not pro new ideas, pro new direction, pro new representatives in some cases. They're not pro any of that. They want to win the way they've been winning, and we'll get it once they get it. And then that's just not going to work for most of us. Some people are going to vote Democrat, even being as critical or more critical than myself. But, and then you can do about that. I think everybody really gets one vote. And when you think of it in the grand scheme of things, and people having to work things out with their self and their family and their God, and then vote accordingly, it doesn't upset me one bit for somebody to support Joe Biden or Donald Trump or any of them. It upsets me more when people try to manipulate folks or bully folks or stop associating with folks because they don't vote the way they vote. That bothers me. So I like everybody to have as much information. Hopefully you can put black popcorn in your little pile of information and opinions. And that's all it is. Everyone gets one and everyone gets a vote. And the people who get upset and mad is because they feel that you're being deceived by someone else and they're going to protect you, and just vote Democrat and they'll take care of everything. And if everything falls out the boat, you at least can go get on welfare. They'll keep those kind of things open. But the homeless problem in this country's got to be addressed by the president of the United States. And I have not heard Donald Trump say anything about dealing with that homeless issue. That is the issue that I don't think anybody can disagree with. It needs to be taken care of nationwide. He hasn't spoke on it. Hopefully he will. He didn't run on it, so it's probably a good chance he won't. But as of now, in my honest opinion, I give him a C minus, and that's just because he's trying. It might be the wrong direction, but I don't think he's trying to wreck the country. I don't think he's going to have us locked up in concentration camps. I don't believe any of the stuff the Democrats said because he's going to knock the prices down immediately, and all the Democrats are running around. He didn't do it. And yeah, he didn't do it. But why would he have to? He's going to destroy the country in the first 100 days, what I was told. So I wasn't even really caring. You might as well sell your house. The way they talking, it's not going to be worth anything when this guy takes over. But we just going to ride this out. And I believe that some good is going to come out of the Trump presidency. And I do stand by that. I don't know about what everybody collectively would say is good, but if we grow as a country and things get better for significant groups of people, then that'd be all we can ask for.
Can't tell if they're happy or enraged, but either way, it's good to have energy. Welcome back. I'm Chris Cuomo, joined by Bill O'Reilly, Stephen A. Smith, and we have a big special night for you here at News Nation for a town hall to mark President Trump's first 100 days and to get a take on what the president said, what it means to us as a country. Democrat legend strategist James Carville. It's good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
the basic premise you heard from the president is we were getting killed on trade. Somebody had to do something. It's risky, but I'm all in for America.
Well, you know, as we're saying, hurricane country, he was speaking 200 words a minute with gusts up to 350 words a minute. But he sounded like a guy that lost 15 points on his job approval and is presiding over 3/10 minus negative economic growth. So he says we were losing $5 billion a day to trade. Okay. The market lost $5 trillion. Now, I'm just as Cajun math, but I think $5 trillion is more than $5 billion if I just take him at the word.
That's not a permanent loss, though. And
well,
you come back in a heartbeat.
So you may.
So
but if you lose, if it goes down 12% and then you come back 10, you're still down 2.
Then he loses the midterms.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
It don't even make no sense to debate with Carville about Democrat stuff. He will tear the Democratic Party apart when they're in office, when they're in power. You should do this. You should do that. You damn boys don't know what they're doing. Damn boys. But when it comes to times like this, when they've had their ass whipped, and he is really a piece of work, you know, he's just going on, and it's time for him to be not that important for these shows to be looking. Why would you have him on there? And O'Reilly's old ass. I could see Stephen A up there, a decent representative of black people, and Como. They're at the age that they should be active and involved and hear what they got to say. But Carville, that dude is just a full of one-liners. He rehearsed that shit, and then he get on there and he expects that to work on us just like that. And when it don't, be like our new vice chair is like saying of the DNC, hey, maybe we should try different things. But no. He want to go to court. He'll sue you or fight you. He is going to be a very difficult one because he does have influence. But his influence is around that base. It's not around the younger folks. And the sad part about it is we don't have enough of the younger folks in Congress to do anything. Because I want to not be completely tuned out and shut this out until I find out what this new group of politicians are going to be. I mean, I'm going to be probably too old to really, you know, do much about anything, but I would like to see them coming in and see their attitudes and their passion and their levels of intelligence. I'm not impressed with the ones we got so far, up until and including the last Congress. I'm not. We don't have any young folks that really make. I thought back when AOC and the squad came in, I was like, oh man, this Democratic Party here look like they about to, you know, wear leather and kick some ass. Not even close. They, believe me, it take more than just, you know, folks with some bright ideas over some martinis to come up here and really change. The United States of America is a hard nut to crack. And most people just end up getting to the point of where they'd just rather be a part of that than to continue to resist it, hopefully for your personal betterment and your family and your life and your community. But most people would rather just say, you know what, let's just be comfortable. Let's just tone it back down the way it was. I know homelessness was here. I know the police were killing and beating people out in the streets. I know drug problems all over the place, but we were comfortable. Immigration off the hook, but we're it's just like, what are we afraid of? Are we afraid of success? If you can get out in the streets and repeat the talking points of the Democratic Party, why can't you get out the street and say your own talking points when you have that opportunity? Instead of talking about immigrants, unless you're an immigrant, I really don't understand why anyone who isn't an immigrant would be out there fighting for immigrant rights when I'll bet you they could find more things they need to be fighting for their own self. I just don't understand where people get that kind of time or money. I just don't. I don't understand it. And to use the immigration issue the way the Democrats are, it's kind of sick. It's as if they're just like that thing that Jesse Jackson and them used to do a long time ago. Anything, they just was chasing ambulances up and down the street. And that's what it seems like. And if this don't stick, but it seems to be getting some traction. I got to give you guys that one, Democrats. People are starting to like grab onto this one, like, whoa. And the guy got deported. He's not alone. I think there was another one who got deported. El Salvador is where they're sending him. And now there's talk of an American citizen. I gotta catch up. I'm sorry. My internet has been real glitchy the last 3 days. But there are folks who are willing to, I think, take some of the immigrants into their own homes. And there should be a message board or something that you can do that if that's what you choose to do. There should be some kind of, agreement. But I feel, hey, there was a time when being free from slavery, if you walked off the premises was illegal and you could be arrested. And I get it. I do. But we were slaves trying to escape a plantation. We weren't in another country trying to escape into this country. And if the conditions in that country are that bad, or any of those countries, we have trade agreements with them. Why don't we use trade agreements to leverage better treatment for their people? And why did all of our companies go across the border and these people are coming over here and taking our jobs in hospitality and some of the jobs that some of the senior and high school age people used to do? These have turned into jobs that they do to support their families and their households. It wasn't that way, and it isn't supposed to be that way. So yeah, Trump's first 100 days is wow. Anybody whose would be good. I don't know. I don't think that anyone would be set up for success. Biden didn't do good. Trump ain't gonna do good, and whoever come next ain't gonna do good until we all do better and make them drive the bus in a different direction. We keep taking what they want us to do and then complaining about it. The immigration problem isn't that big on everybody's plate. It just isn't. And the people who it is, I get it. You can't tell anybody where they want to protest or picket or boycott. You can do what you want to do. But I feel personally that it's just too much attention being paid to it when these people have to understand the conditions that could potentially come upon them by sneaking into the United States. And the United States government should be talking on the phone with these other governments and go, hey, what the hell is going on? We just got 4 million people from your country over here. Hey, we just got 1,200 in one day. Hey, we just got, why is someone not communicating that over there? What is going on? Now they just like shut down. But I just don't understand why it's so important for us to be the country where all these people come to. And why it's so important for us to be the country where we send food packets all around the world. It looks like we're paying too much in taxes. If we're paying that much in taxes, that you're taking our tax money and doing a million things with it that we may not agree with, we might be paying too much in taxes. And I'm just afraid that Trump's going to whack this and whack this and whack that. And is it going to help our taxes? Is our taxes going to go down, or are they still going to go up? Anybody ever remember them just being cut significantly where you really felt it, where you really looked at your check and said, wow, this is... Hey, that extra $26 you got for the month, that's the tax cut or whatever. It's never significant enough to make a real change in your life. But they take that money and they do change people's lives. They feeding the hungry. But who is the contractor handling that money that's feeding the hungry? Who, they're not just sending the money over there. It's so much fraud or potential for it. And people say, well, we're used to it. We've been paying it. But the quality of our life, the quality of our children's lives, our children's ability to own homes, nobody seems to be concerned about that. We have to be concerned about our children and their children. And if your children have better jobs and own homes and everything in their life is better than it was for you when you were raising them, then that's a wonderful thing. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. Your kids are supposed to do better than you. Your kids are supposed to grow and see and do things that you didn't do or couldn't do. And if this generation coming behind us isn't surpassing us, and we know we wasn't kicking ass, it's not good. It's a bad thing going on in America when you see that. and everyone's okay with it, actually fighting to get back to it. Get him Trump out the way so we can get back to what we were not doing. And I don't know, guys. I just feel different. And I'm a little biased on this 100-day thing because I knew Caraville was going to be the center of focus because he's the one out there with an agenda. He's in his late 70s, I think. This dude's an old man. He needs to get away, walk away. You were in Bill Clinton's time. It's a whole new era, and everybody needs to start acting like it so people can quit dying in office. And then we'll have more of an opportunity and a chance, you know, to retire at the time of your choosing and not just fall apart on us up there and leave doors and seats open. And it's nothing that we can do about it because it doesn't matter to our politicians as long as we vote. They don't want to change anything. They want to keep it just like it is, even though they lost bad. They lost to Donald Trump, a man that they should not have lost to. Kamala Harris has a resume that is hard to equal by men, women, by anybody. She is missing something seriously important to not be able to beat Donald Trump.
Happens in Virginia. We got plenty football left.
Cuomo's question is, look, he's trying to right some wrongs. And when you do that, you're going to run into headwinds. You know that.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's true. But Donald Trump made everybody feel, I got this. And I know when you're running in an election, you say shit that you can't do. I know. But it's just kind of like, damn, people are on the other side. I don't hear as much complaining from the right as I do from the left. It's not like they've fallen apart. His Congress is still holding up. And that's pretty important. And that's a good indicator of what they feel. I know it must be difficult. And Donald Trump ain't one to go in there begging and you know, trying to care too much about people's feelings. He's kind of like basically saying, hang in there or I'll get you out of office. You gonna hang in there with us. And it's kind of a bad thing if things don't go the way he tells us they're gonna go. And we have no way of knowing. But as long as he stays within the realm of the law and the articles of the Constitution, then it is what it is. That means that the Constitution is working. If we get through Donald Trump's 4 years and we are still the United States of America, it ain't no close call. He's still showing up for court dates. You guys are still filing them. You're still talking impeachment. These are procedural things that the Constitution guarantees. So don't call him a criminal. Don't say he's breaking the law. Take him to court and let the courts determine that. It just seems so terrible to accuse somebody of something before they've been convicted. If the things he's been convicted on, you can say that until you're blue in the face. But the other things are just accusations. Oh, he can't do that. Well, he just did. If he can't do it, how'd he do it? He did it. And you called him on it. Now go to court and let the courts iron this out. But do not let your first 100 days be judged by someone else. Close your eyes. Think about your life. How do you feel about Donald Trump, the country? I think it's more of a feeling of anticipation. Everybody got that. We're anticipating what all these people told us he's going to do, what all these people said is going to happen. And it gives you a sense of a little bit of stress because you don't know what's going to happen next. And if these people are right, this could be really bad. True. But they're not. They're pushing this way too far. And they can't really defeat him by making him sound like he's an okay, normal guy. But I see how people interact with him and people act around him. And this stuff that we see that's put out here for the public is just horrible. You know, he's sitting down at a funeral next to Barack Obama, and they're like whispering, and Kamala the one with the issue. Obviously, it was right after the election. I could see her being a little hot. Like, what you over there palling around with him for? But I do like people who can keep professional. And you guys aren't campaigning. You're sitting next to each other at a funeral. He might have said, something funny about his drive over, and Obama might have remarked back. And, you know, I think that's appropriate rather than going to the point of the way our politics are getting. That was kind of a nice moment to see, but then Obama gets on the mic and starts talking crazy again, and Trump does as well. It's important for us to get that shit out the politics so that we can move on and move forward and not be so personal and not lie so much. Both sides.
We had what the economists call the economy that was the envy of the world. Okay? Does anybody look at the U.S. economy now and say, we're the envy of the world? We've lost all of this market share. We have negative economic growth. We're installing a policy that hasn't worked yet and try to corn laws in England.
See, and nothing's going to be good enough for James Carville. And it was the same way, the vice versa. I dislike that part of the politics and the pundits because he's going to badmouth them and Trump don't know what he's doing and Trump don't know. And only to do what? To return us to what? That's what I'm saying. Give us something so that he can lay down a plan or the direction that we plan on going. And hopefully the plan don't come from his direction. He is way too old to be sitting up there even worrying about this. He needs to be at home. He has a wonderful home down there in Louisiana, and he should be down there enjoying it.
So we're starting a trade war that have no idea what he's doing. And now he's saying, well, maybe you're only going to get $2 for Christmas, and it might cost you a little bit more. Okay, well, I'm 80 years old, so I'm not worried about the price of dollars that much right now. But what's working here? Nothing.
So what would you do? What would you do?
Well, first thing, I would have never started a trade war.
Okay, so you're okay with $1 trillion going out more than comes in?
You know, a prosperous nation is always going to buy more from an unprosperous nation. We're always going to buy more T-shirts.
Right, so you were happy with
let me finish, man.
No,
Go ahead. I'm just giving you the...
See, he can fight this all day because he was a part of that North American free trade agreement that they made. He was a part of the Bill Clinton team. So, of course, he's going to fight hard for that and talk about, you know, his view of how things went. But that is not a winner. When you go from the amount and the type of jobs to just in a generation to just for them to go away, and it's the reason why we as a people are in the position we're in. When you see the homelessness, when you see the low paying jobs, when you see certain groups of people not being able to buy real estate, that's because of these type of policies. And Trump ain't coming in and making it easy. We got to tighten up our belts or whatever he's trying to do. And will we see a benefit? We don't know. This is one of them things where, wow, he convinced enough people to vote him into office, but will we see a benefit? 100 days is unreasonable. I ain't judging nobody in 100 days. I was still on board with Obama in that Obamacare at his first 100 days. I was like, oh no, I would do that for people who don't have. They gotta have like I have. This shit. Until I realized what they did with my health care, and it changed it to the point of where if I went to emergency in the middle of the night, I might not get back in time to go to work in the morning if it was something minor. I was like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm better than anyone, but I paid for my health care, worked hard to get it. And then I'm like, and that was the best Obama could do, was make the price of it go up. Put all the price on the workers and without coming up with another plan or another way, kind of like all that money you gave to the financial institutions. You gave them financial institutions all that money, bro. That would have been a good thing for us. Trump is making the same kind of mistakes, in my opinion, in pushing his agenda through. Obama was hated for that Obamacare. Everybody was like, oh, hell no, it's a monstrosity. It's going to wreck the country. We won't have a country. Remember all that? I was like, damn, really? For getting health care? But then when I seen how hard they fought him, and he just gave up on certain parts, so he wasn't able to really go all the way with it, which did make it kind of like higher for some people, but still some things didn't get to come into place. So I don't know. And I think the same thing's going to happen to Trump here. It's going to stink up the place because it ain't going to be fully implemented the way he wants it to be. And if it ever is, it might still stink up the place. Because if they had let Obama do Obamacare the way he wanted to, it still would have been some folks hollering and screaming like, what in the hell is he doing? they were not on board with it. And that's about the best example I can remember in my recent memory, because when Biden got his chance, he was a Build Back Better. I was like, when I first heard that, it's like Trump had Make America Great Again and Biden come out, Build Back Better. It's like, that wasn't too catchy. It didn't really work. And half the time he didn't remember. He's probably thinking, what was the name of that? Biden, oh God. But yeah, Trump's first 100 days, guys. How do you feel? What do you guys really feel? Do you look at TV and do the pundits on there, and do our friends who call us and we have our small talk with them, do they shape how you feel? What do you feel? Well, I know when I go to the store, the prices is high as hell for a little bit of stuff. And I mean a little. You just say, let me just pick up a few things for lunch next week. You come on $125. Like, geez, 2 or 3 bags. You know, you're like, God, dog it. And a lot of vegetables. I've been eating better because, you know, vegetables were historically cheaper. Now lemons are like 25 cents each. Oh, I take that back. 65 cents each. The limes are 20 cents each and 25 cents each. I got a tree growing. I don't know. I'm trying, folks. It's expensive. And Trump, I feel, did mislead in his campaigning to at least make the support be there for him to get a win. I also believe there were things on the other side that weren't going to come to pass either, but there were some things that were being promised by Kamala Harris that I think would have been well received across the board. A lot of people, I think, connected and felt with like what she was saying. And it's very appealing when you get a black face up there and they're not talking about reparations and they're not talking about those type of things. Then you kind of go, yeah, you know, she seems like she's going to be like Obama, a good president for everybody.
Go ahead. We're going to always buy more T-shirts from Sri Lanka than Sri Lanka's going to buy Boeing aircraft from us. And the fact that you do have a trade.
James Carville is okay with people being abused in other countries for labor. He's okay with kids making T-shirts. He's okay with all that stuff. That's not his concern. He has an agenda, and them people over there making them T-shirts ain't it. And I just think it's messed up when you get to that point, when your big picture is so big that you can only use your rhetoric and inside know-how to make this guy who is not as political savvy as most Democrats who are on TV. Trump just ain't that. He just ain't got it. He trying to get in there and fake it until he make it, but he's doing it a whole unconventional other kind of way. And James Carville is taking advantage of that by poking holes in everything he's saying, making him look like a horrible president. In his first 100 days, he's just plunging. You can be 4 or 5 points down from what another president was, and they look like it's just a catastrophe. 5%, 4%. They all hover around 50%. All of them. Rarely, and it take the start of a war or something big will over a particular issue will we spike up to in the 70s and late high 50s, mid 60s, and that's because the president had to have done something really, really good. But for presidents and all that stuff, as far as approval ratings and spikes up and spikes down, that's the kind of stuff Carville likes, because people listen to that and they start thinking, well, Trump must be doing a bad job. If you don't follow politics every day and you just hear in passing some of this stuff or most of this stuff on the stations, you'll be like, oh man, this dude is really blowing it, huh? You know, and he might really be. But as of yet, there are no signs of it. The stock market going up and down in an effort to balance our budget, our deficit of $37 trillion. Yeah. What y'all think was going to happen? You think he's going to balance the budget and not a ripple? That's impossible.
Deficit is an indication that you have a prosperous country and you buying things that come over here.
Okay, so you're fine with it. You're fine with the $1 trillion, and Biden was fine with it.
I'm not.
Because he didn't do anything.
Well, first of all, I am not fine with starting a trade war.
Okay.
That is
Fine with
an
it.
utter disaster.
Big gulf.
You know, when my guy was president, you know, I always tell people, what made y'all worse? The peace or the prosperity? There is not a single economic indicator where Democratic presidents do not massively overperform Republican presidents.
Because the standard that they go by is set by them. And I didn't know that for a long time, but the areas that they judge and the things that they point out are things that they select. It's not just something that's fairly selected, because Republicans do pretty well with business. They do pretty well, but apparently Democrats do too, because Barack Obama was a Democratic president when this big financial thing hit, and he navigated through that just fine. So Democrats are just as savvy as working with business folks as the Republicans are. They try to make it seem like the Democrats are for the people and the Republicans are for the business, but the truth is they both are for the business, and neither one of them are for the people. That's the truth. It's just how they can put it on a plate and serve it up to you, and see if you buy it or not. Well, that I ain't buying. And I do believe that Donald Trump has big plans on making people rich, 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 feeling like Ronald Reagan, that if the richer they get, they can't keep it all in the bank. They got to give it out in bonuses and raises and open up new business and investments. And sometimes that don't really go that way. But I do understand his hopefulness, but I don't think that the circle is going to be complete according to his diagram. And that's just a fact. You know, it always has been that way. If you can stuff your friends with a whole bunch of money and their business is just boom, 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 but then it doesn't get back down to the ground like you thought it would, it's just, oh, well, but your friends got rich. You're still going to be okay because your friends got rich.
Look me up, you check me out on every possible thing, from GDP growth to job growth to stock market growth to anything you can think of, including deficits.
Does that include Joe Biden?
That Democratic presidents, and take any time frame you want. I have no idea why anyone that cares anything about the economy would ever vote for a Republican for president.
He make a good argument, except we're in different times. We're $37 trillion in debt, and the Democrats were not talking about attacking that debt. That was not the forefront of their campaign, and Donald Trump kept hitting on it and talking. Barack Biden allowed those prices to slip up there, and people were feeling it. I feel like right now, like he's still in office. Nothing's changed. I go to the supermarket, I'm like, shit, I do not like it. And not only I keep saying the supermarket because that's pretty much a necessity, and that's where I go. I don't go to malls and stuff no more. I used to like to hit a mall every, 2 weeks, do a little window shopping, and then go walk through the glass door and buy something. But now I really am more aware, and I'm thinking, geez. And not just because Trump's been in office. It's been that way. And Trump ain't making it no better, but he say he got a plan. Do you guys believe him? I don't know. Does it matter? What is our plan? Where we going? What we going to ask for? We need to get up there and get in while the getting is good, because Trump needs support. This would be a great time for any group of folks to hit him. Hit him up and see what he going to say. He might want the support. It might help his ratings. It might help his, put the word out. Hey, he ain't that bad a guy. Oh, really? Why you say that? He, decided to give us this. I just think they might be fighting him too hard on some of this stuff. Some of this little stuff he might be willing to bend on, like getting a guy back from El Salvador. I totally disagree with that. I don't think that anybody who snuck into the country as their original means of being here should ever be given any kind of break for that. They shouldn't. You snuck in the country. That's how I feel about it. But I am not the law. And if the law is requesting Trump to do that and the guy over there won't, hey. And his first 100 days is being looked at on an economic sense. And when you think of the social issues, and I'm telling you, when he shut that USAID down, they was pissed. The Democrats made noise on that one. They ain't like it. And they don't like that Department of Education either. But if you're putting all that money into the Department of Education, you have to justify it. You cannot be putting the most money in our education and getting the least out, or not the least, but damn near. For a country our size, we should be well more educated. And I think that we need to focus on government so people understand how politics work and learn it in school. And there are public schools that teach that, but they don't. These kids are coming out of there and not understanding just a little bit of the history of the country, as far as who prominent and important people were throughout history. So we should have an understanding of who we are as a country and who these people are. Trump ain't trying to push that, but he is giving it an opportunity to happen by pushing it back on the states. You can't say he shut that down. He at least left that door open if someone wants to walk through it.
Jimmy, let's deal with what we're dealing with. Let's set the table with what the problem is, okay? Because I think that the space that's being made for Trump is that he's picking on the right problem. I'm not talking about trade. In this country, the fastest growing socioeconomic group is billionaires. This was a middle class motivated country. I never liked that word. I think you should just say the majority. The imbalance is real, okay? It's felt by people. It makes them angry. What do you do about it if not what Trump is doing? So Trump, you don't like what he's doing. What would you do, because the issue beats you?
It's an excellent question. The first thing I would do is I would not extend these billionaires' tax cuts, and I would not pay for them by clobbering the middle class and the lower middle class by cutting Medicaid expenses, of which
He said he wasn't going to cut.
Yeah, but he cut the middle class, or helped Bill Clinton, being an advisor to Bill Clinton, by sending factories to Mexico and Canada. That's what that was all about, because they were being overtaxed. So why would our government help a business avoid our tax system by letting them go somewhere else and send the stuff back with no tariffs or low tariffs? That is, that's why I can't be rating this man's 100 days bad, because I don't even know everything Biden did. He lost me early on because he went in signing executive orders, and they was hitting hard. And they tried to justify it by saying, we gave you a bill that you could have agreed on, and we could have fixed that immigration problem. But because you didn't see it our way, and we wasn't budging your way, then we're just going to open the borders up. When that happened, he lost me. Oh, I could never, ever, ever. I'm glad he's old and out of politics. Hopefully, I heard he's going to make a comeback. I'm sure he woke up one morning and said that. But why ain't nobody mad at him? Why is nobody mad at Joe Biden? Because he just, or his advisor, or his handlers, or his wife, or whoever has clarity of thought to make him step away, to put their arm around him and say, no, dad, granddad, great grandpapa, you got to go. You're a burden now. You're going to hurt the country. And let him go home and enjoy his life. Go over and sit on the porch and sneak him little beers and stuff and enjoy his older years and get these old people out of here. Look at Carville, though. He must still be heavily invested. I mean, I know he's heavily invested in the Democratic Party, but to the point of where you're willing to go on these shows and just go all out like that unrealistically and without giving anybody any true hope for you guys' first 100 days when you finally get back in office again. We're at the first 100 days, you guys, and it depends on who you like, I guess, as to how he's doing. You know, is Trump doing good? Is Trump doing bad? Depending on who you like. Some people can justify that because they say, hey, you got to tighten your belt. It's always quiet, before we get it rolling right. And I get it. But then the Democrats are saying this dude, everything he's doing is failing. I can't be that critical on anybody until you are allowed to have your policies and programs laid out. And when Biden was willing to forego Congress and do an executive order for that border, when he could have said, nope, you guys are going to fight it out and figure it out for me. Bring me something I can sign. He wouldn't do that. He was willing to just get it pushing, and the result was opening the border. That's a touchy one for me.
Medicaid.
Go watch the budget that's been submitted. It's already got 600. He said he was going to end the war.
There's nothing about cutting Medicaid in the budget.
Did
This
he
is
say
just
or not say?
propaganda,
Did
Jim.
he say I'm not? Did he say or not say I'm going to end the
It's a bunch of
Ukraine war?
bull, and you know it.
Can I?
No, you can't. You can't say it's in the budget. There's a Medicaid cut when there isn't.
Excuse me for
I think Stephen A. Smith is scared. He ain't said nothing. But you know what? He's one of those guys who is a former Democrat, but he sees the logic in some of the things that the Republicans are saying and talking about. And I believe that he leans that way in some of his arguments. But he also is sitting right next to Carville, and he probably don't want Carville to turn to him and go, "You don't know what you talking about." You know, he don't want to get into it. He know how that could go. So he like, he looks scared. He just sitting there like not saying anything.
why you interrupting me.
I am. This is ridiculous. And he does it every night.
Can I make a point?
Yes, go ahead.
He was going to end the Ukraine war on day one.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you
It's
didn't say that?
absurd.
But
What did Biden do for 4 years in there? Nothing.
I didn't
drive
say
me
that.
nuts.
He said he was going in the Ukraine
Can't
war.
tell by your
Please
demeanor.
fact check me. Somebody look
Very
it up on your
calm.
cell phone. Did Trump say I'm going to end the Ukraine war on day one?
And I was
Hey,
going
if
to
you-
wear an LSU T-shirt, but I'm not now.
You don't have to.
Can I ask a quick question?
We'll get over it. We
You
have
got to
two-
fight to
two
get into
Heisman
this.
Trophy
No, I'm
winners
not going
in
to
the
fight.
last 5
James,
years.
can I ask a
get
quick
in.
question? I'm not asking as if I know the answer. I'm just asking you.
Okay.
There's a $37 trillion deficit. Chicken's going to come home to roost. Eventually, the American
Eventually,
citizens going to have to pay
Chicken?
for it, whatever.
Right.
The point that I'm asking is this. What level of culpability do you attach to the Democratic Party in contributing to that national debt?
35%. You can go
35 to 65?
Yeah, you can go back and look at deficit growth under Democratic presidents and deficit growth under Republican presidents.
Yeah, but we are $37 trillion in debt. So what are we going to do to get out of that and quit trying to say we better than them? So what? We might rack up the deficit, but we better than them. We might, but we better than them. And he's just trying to win an argument because they don't have nothing, man, but they need some new ideas. And people need to start asking them for new ideas. Why are people so okay with no new ideas? Give us something to support if they want support. And Trump is going to be Trump. And if we were smart, this would be the president that we walk across Pennsylvania Avenue and go sit down and talk to and figure out. I'm telling you, the dude needs support. But nobody want to go do that because they know that the Democrats will look at them bad. Oh, y'all went over there and talked to him. Yes, we can do that. Everyone in the country can. No matter what your faction or group is, you can go talk to them. And nobody can tell you that you can't. And you can't be feeling guilty and bad and holding back your growth and progress because you are part of a political party that doesn't support your growth and you moving forward. And that would be either one of them. That's why you have to make them. You absolutely have to stop doing whatever you've been doing and do it differently. That's what I'm trying to do, you guys. It ain't easy. People are going to always say, oh, you favor John, oh, you favor. I don't favor either one of them. But I right now would be more likely, and that's, I guess, the way I have to look at it, at doing what Donald Trump is doing than doing what I saw Biden doing in the last administration. I would go more in that direction. And it probably, I don't know if I'd do a trade war the way he's doing it, but it would be a benefit. And it wouldn't be just be no bluffing. But I would figure out how we could and that sending our companies to Mexico and Canada and now trying to get it back in taxes or whatever. It wasn't laid out that way. They were given an understanding and a treaty, and to go now that we see how profitable it is and try to change it is, that's kind of like bad faith. But, you get painted in some bad situations. And as a president, he can break treaties and rescind agreements, but it does reflect on the country. But you can't be bound by your predecessors' ways just because they made a bunch of mistakes and did stupid things. And then you come in, you can't be like, oh yeah, I can't fix it because the country hit a speed bump and they'll never be the same again. Well, somebody got to be an adult sometime and tell them, you're not going to like this that much, but I got to do this and you're going to thank me later. And that's what he's trying to do, but I don't know if he's really capable or have the plan. I don't think enough of it has been revealed. And if it's Project 2025, then no, that's not going to be it. But we'll be beyond it in 4 years to where we can get the major components hopefully taken care of, readjusted, and not reverted back, but really calibrated and moved into a better place. Because as long as we keep accepting that we got to get back to that comfortable place, that's not what progress feels like.
It's actually a figure that you can see. And you can look at it over 75 years, you can look at it over 50 years, you can look at it over 25 years, in any time frame that you want. And I'm sorry, but there are facts out there. And they're indisputable. No one can dispute that. There's been volumes of research done on this. And right now, the extending these tax cuts are going to easily be $4.5 trillion. Easy. And then where are they going to get the money? It's a billionaire bailout. That's what they're doing.
Or
Carville and all the Democrats are screaming, it's a billionaire bailout. It's a billionaire bailout. But the billionaires are losing money, like trillions of dollars. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. They cannot be happy with what Trump is doing. This had to have been discussed, or if it wasn't discussed, then he's like really sneaking them out like whoa, he's going to have to give them tax cuts. Their money is just plummeting. Where do you think that money is coming from? And it's unfortunate, no matter what, when people lose money and their livelihoods and all of that stuff. But when we set up farmers to make soy products so the government can use them in certain ways, and they supplement them by the government, then the government fail to pay that money to them, then what do? They're not a real business out there in the real market. How do you get the government contract as opposed to just being a farmer out there hustling for yourself? Who wouldn't want a guaranteed government contract with the corn or the grain or whatever you're growing? But is that fair? Does everybody have that same equal opportunity? Who determines that? It's messed up there, you guys. And if we be wasting our time to try to knock Trump out of the White House by impeachments or scandals, or he won. There's a significant part of the country that actually like him enough to vote for him. So what we need to do is get our stuff together so that when we have that opportunity, we're not up there getting heckled and ridiculed and talked about because we just went back up there and just undid everything he did. And then is that what it's going to be now? That's not what progress is supposed to be like. The country can't grow like that. Yeah, we're down to a really interesting time, folks. And I just want you guys to all stay strong and pay attention and don't get bullied. Don't let people walk up to you talking crazy about your political views, ideas, or you might like one thing that Donald Trump has done, and you might have liked 8 or 9 things that Biden did, but you might not be willing to vote for him for one. Trump may have lost some folks already. If this election, people always say, hey, if we were voting again, he wouldn't win, would he? Or would we not? I don't know. Some people do like what he's doing. Everybody is not against it, but it is very unpopular because it's not clearly understood. And it's very hard to have a country the size of America not all on the same page and expecting we're going to be supporting something, because we're not. And we have a lot of rhetoric coming from the other side, and it's very effective. I must say that. If nothing else, it's effective. And keep it up. If that's the fight that the Democrats have to fight to keep Trump from progressing, keep it up. And Trump, hope that he keeps up what he's doing and has some success. Either way, the side that is fighting the hardest for the country to do better is the side that I really would like to see do well. But it's not the Democrats right now. They're acting like spoiled kids who just lost and they just want to win just to win. No, we got to do better than that. Like, comment, share, and please subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.